want the best for my children. I want their future to be full of hope and promise. I want their lives to be better than mine. I want them to be free to choose what they want to do in life and not have doors of opportunity shut because they did poorly in school. I guess I'm really no different from any other parent. That's why the education crisis worries me, especially when I realized what my children were not learning and that they were starting to hate school. That's when I decided to take their future into my own hands. My teenage daughter, Jenny, told me about a computer that her friend had at home that seemed to be just like the computers they had at school. She said that this computer not only made study easier, but fun. She said that her friend was the smartest kid in school. Well, I knew this girl, and she wasn't any smarter than Jenny, but this computer seemed to be giving her a big advantage. I visited her parents to find out more. What I saw was amazing. Their computer, just like the ones in the computer lab at school, taught their daughter using multimedia, which they explained meant video-like motion and sound. I was impressed that their most important educational software, called the New Horizon Learning Lab, was developed by Jostens. This is the same Fortune 500 company that dominates the school educational software market. But what amazed me was the price. Unlike those expensive multi-student school networks, this was designed and priced for the home user. It takes a child from kindergarten through to grade 12 in the 4 core subjects: reading, writing, science, and math. I also found that it was available only through New Horizon Education, through an exclusive contract with Jostens. Jostens customized it for New Horizon. After just a few minutes of watching my children having so much fun learning on the New Horizon Home Learning Lab, I knew we had to have one. It was an easy decision. Our children already loved interactive video games, so the step from the fantasy games on the TV to the learning games on the Home Learning Lab was easy. From the youngest to the oldest, our children are drawn to it like a magnet. And what a difference it has made in school and in their attitude. And there's a lot more than just the Home Learning Lab disc. There is wonderful support software, including Microsoft Works with word processing and an amazing complete reference library on one CD-ROM disc. Jenny has always been smart enough to be ahead of her class, but she was bored and she wasn't studying very hard. The Home Learning Lab lets her race ahead at her own pace. Oh, she did a report on John F. Kennedy, complete with an audio tape of one of his speeches. She first looked him up in the on-screen encyclopedia and read what it said about him. With a click of the mouse, she also explored the on-screen cross-references in the encyclopedia, like the Bay of Pigs. Then she organized all that material in the desktop publishing computer program and printed it out. She even dubbed Kennedy's own voice onto an audio cassette, saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," which she got off the computer version of Bartlett's quotations. You should have seen her face when she brought home her A+ grade, and a written comment from her teachers saying that it was by far the best report she has ever seen. The change in my 7th grade son has been, well, it's been miraculous. He was really struggling. He missed some basic concepts when he was sick, and he was way behind and ready to give up. With the Home Learning Lab and without any pressure from us, Scott caught up on his own. He was able to look up in the parent's guide the math lessons he had missed and type the lesson number into the computer. Then the computer carefully led him through the lesson, making sure he got it right and quizzing him at the end so he could be sure he had really learned it. The computer did it without embarrassing him or making him feel dumb. Next, on his own, he mastered the following lessons that he didn't get right because of what he had missed. He is almost ahead of his class. Our greatest joy for him isn't just his grades, although that's been wonderful. It's watching his self-esteem grow, from below zero to bubbling over with confidence. Confidence in who he is and what he can do. Even though the software starts at kindergarten, our 4-year-old is already working on the 2nd grade lessons. Jeffrey's well on his way to becoming another Einstein or Edison. He especially loves science and reading and really enjoys browsing through some of the really advanced modules. I'm not sure he understands it all, but he recently learned how to build a laboratory volcano right on the computer, and now he wants to become a volcano scientist. He is whizzing through second grade math and loves it. Our biggest problem is scheduling time for everyone. I think their dad enjoys it as much as the kids. And I often sneak time out to brush up on my computer skills or entertain myself with the science modules. Even if our kids aren't really geniuses, they must have a college education if they're going to have any chance at all of getting good jobs. And at the rate college tuitions are going up, by the time our kids are college age, we won't be able to afford it. Scholarships are their only real hope. With the increasing competition for scholarships, we look at our investment in a multimedia computer and the New Horizon Home Learning Lab as an investment in our kids' futures.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
I would like to suggest a variation on Kennedy's famous quote. Ask not what your government can do for your children, ask what you can do for your children. I'm Howard Ruff, editor and publisher of the Ruff Times and president of New Horizon Education, a public company dedicated to helping you save your children's future. Like the mother you just heard who decided to take her children's educational future into her own hands, you too must take your children's future into your own hands. Over the years as a financial publisher, I've encouraged people to take responsibility for their own personal future, to not rely on the compassion of government, it has none, or the promises of politicians, they will break them. The philosophy is simple. Identify oncoming problems and take preventive action to protect yourself so you can tackle life on your terms. Your children will graduate into an explosive, high-tech, high-skill, information-sensitive, highly competitive world that they are not being adequately prepared for in school. To make even a barely adequate living, your children must have college degrees and academic skills way beyond what your generation needed, way beyond what they are now being taught in school. In addition, your children will need the skill to use computer technology to sort out the flood of information that's relevant to their profession. Without these skills, they will never live as well as you have. At the same time, while the skill level needed to survive economically is growing almost exponentially, the percentage of well-equipped high school graduates is shrinking. Something is terribly wrong. Consider the following. Today's students are the first generation whose academic achievement and earning power will not exceed, match, or even approach that of their parents. In scholastic achievement, American kids score 18th out of 18 industrialized nations in almost every category. Average grades are going up, even as performance in standardized tests has plummeted. Students are being rewarded more while learning less, and never has this gap between grades and actual learning been wider. This grade inflation can obscure serious lack of skills and knowledge. Recent published studies have concluded that 17% of high school graduates are functionally illiterate, unable to balance a checkbook or read a traffic law booklet at the DMV. 30% cannot reason from written material or solve mathematical problems that involve a series of computations. Several top-flight American universities have started turning down applicants with a 3.8 grade point average. And getting a scholarship is orders of magnitude harder than that. Without scholarships, a family with 2, 3, or 4 children will probably have to bankrupt itself to pay for their children's degrees. And yet, without a good transcript from a good college, your children's chances of getting an upwardly mobile, well-paying job that takes them out of the bare, subsistence, unskilled labor category will be infinitesimal. Studies have indicated that America's homeless have way below average academic skills. Homelessness is usually a direct result of academic failure. Who is to blame? Well, there's plenty of blame to go around. Inefficient school systems soak up money that should have been used to hire more teachers and pay them more. Too many parents pay little or no attention to their kids' school progress. The fun culture has infused into our teenagers the unfortunate feeling that fun is not life's dessert, but its main course, way ahead of boring stuff like studies and work. We also dump our social problems onto the schools, where teachers are expected to be jailers and principals are wardens. All the experts agree on one thing, however. The most important single factor in our children's academic success is the involvement and interest of the parents. If the parents are wisely involved, even a kid in a mediocre school can do well. But how can parents help if they both work and come home exhausted or have forgotten what they learned in school? A few years ago, my 15-year-old daughter was getting a D in algebra and asked for my help. I got a D in algebra 48 years ago. Many of our kids' subjects weren't even taught in our schools, or even worse, because of grade inflation, our kids' grades too often conceal their real academic inadequacy. The schools have one really serious potential solution to the academic problem: the Computer Learning Lab. Companies like Jostens have become business giants by developing educational computer software for the schools, which interactively involves the child in the on-screen learning process. There is ample data that even 15 minutes a week on the computer makes a big difference in grades and tested ability. In fact, a student will probably learn more in 1 hour in front of a computer than 3 to 10 hours in the classroom. In a regular class, your kid can daydream or doze through a lecture, but he can't do that with a modern interactive educational program on a computer because it requires him to respond, to use a mouse, or type an answer. Although these school labs make a big academic difference and are a wise expenditure of public money, how much better would it be if your children had unlimited access instead of only 15 to 30 minutes a week? The competitive edge for our kids in this wonderful but frightening world is best achieved if you can bring the lab into the home, making it a personal, full-time tutor. Getting a school learning lab in the home can overnight change the attitude and performance of almost any kid. The smart but bored ones can now race ahead at their own pace, and the slower kids can catch up and believe in themselves again. And the computer never makes a child feel dumb. Amazing new technology now allows us to compress incredible amounts of information and interactive education onto one CD-ROM disk. And there are now inexpensive computers and upgrade packages which can fully exploit that disk. The lab can now be brought into the home. You can now put an entire education from kindergarten through the 12th grade in reading, writing, math, and science on one amazing CD, complete with animation and sound. Through our exclusive licensing agreement with Jostens, a Fortune 500 company that is the dominant developer of multimedia educational courseware for schools, we have been given the exclusive right to provide this amazing customized home learning lab to your family. Is your 9th grader having trouble with algebra or geometry and you've forgotten what you learned in school? Just look up the appropriate lesson in the Home Learning Lab Parents Guide and bring it up on screen. Did your 4th grader miss a science lesson on volcanoes at school? No problem. It's on the Home Learning Lab. It's the ultimate reference and instruction source. Millions upon millions of dollars were spent in its development over many years, utilizing the best teaching techniques to make it fun and educational. Through Joyce's story of what happened to her family, you've seen some brief bits and pieces of the New Horizon program. Now I'd like to show it to you in more depth. First, our program is built around this one CD-ROM, the New Horizon Home Learning Lab, customized for us by Jostens. It contains hundreds, even thousands of hours of education, kindergarten through the 12th grade in science, math, reading, and writing. For the youngest children, the early reading lessons start with simple sounds and word and letter combinations. The younger children who cannot yet read can hear the text as well as see it. As the children progress, the material becomes more and more sophisticated. Math concepts start with the very simplest ideas. The children are taught not only how to calculate accurate answers, but how to estimate, a useful skill adults have to use almost every day. Then they go through interactive drills to nail down their basic skills, taking them through geometry and basic algebra. The reading lessons teach a lot of science, literature, history, and geography in the process of acquiring the reading skills. In science, they actually do laboratory work on the screen, such as this laboratory experiment on earthquakes. This home learning lab forms the core around which you will build your CD-ROM educational laboratory, with such reference works as Microsoft Bookshelf, which contains an encyclopedia, a complete dictionary, which actually pronounces the words for you, a Hammond World Atlas, which not only shows you the national flags, but plays their national anthems, a World Almanac, and Bartlett's quotations, some of them spoken aloud by the authors of the quotes. Moving from one section to another is as easy as the click of a mouse. We also want you to have some CD-ROM intellect-building games to teach computer and problem-solving skills, so the computer will be a magnet for your children. Also included is Microsoft Works, which contains a spreadsheet to work with numbers, a word processing program so you can create documents, and a database. A good multimedia computer with the right software will teach you how to use it, so a student doesn't really need any prior skills.
We're confident that with the use of modern computers and modern technology that our students can be better prepared for a future world that will require them to be better communicators, better thinkers, and better problem solvers. Unfortunately, at the school level, we don't have enough computers available for the students to have that daily accessibility to computers that we think they need. We're hoping that parents in the future will be able to provide computers in their homes so that students can supplement their learning here at the school in the home environment.
There is nothing anywhere like this incredible disc. Created by some of the best educational minds in America, even more important, it is so much fun that the children hardly even realize they're being educated, and it's just plain fun. As I said earlier, it is our objective in New Horizon Education to see that every kid in America has a learning lab in the home. Consequently, we've priced it so that almost anyone can afford it. However, we know that even this relatively modest expenditure may be beyond the cash resources of some. So we've decided to use a good old American principle, sweat equity. By your own efforts, you can have this program in your home. And if you do it properly, the most you will have to put out for a multimedia computer and this software is $500. Program's very simple. We call it the Horizon Earn to Learn program, or HELP. We've developed a compensation plan so that you can earn money both from your sales and from the sales of others that you bring into this network. You can earn commissions of hundreds of dollars from every person you personally introduce to this program. And when they bring people into the system by sharing it with them to help them pay for their own computers, you can earn overrides and bonuses. Once you've met a small minimum requirement in sales, we will deliver your computer to your home, and we will finance the balance for you. If you really want your children to have this program, and if you're willing to put out just a little effort, there is absolutely no reason why you can't have it. Please join us in this nationwide network of parents who have taken their kids' future into their own hands. Help us to spread the word, and we will reward you generously. Please ask the New Horizon representative who gave you this video to show you a demonstration of the Home Learning Lab and explain to you the New Horizon compensation plan so you can immediately get your children on the right track to academic and financial success.
I want the best for my children. I want their future to be full of hope and promise. I want their lives to be better than mine.